Welcome to the salt mine. Got Pete back with you, and got my buddy over here, Chris.
What's up?
So we decided to crank out another episode because there's a lot of fluff and models and stuff that just got released, or at least the news dropped. So we're gonna talk about that today. A couple other things that we're gonna talk about in regard to that is Union and Chains updates. We also got some theories where we think some of these models are going, especially since Obulus wanted to drop a bombshell on us. The Hemlock model. Like, I'm way more happy because that model looks cool. It looks like it might have 2-inch reach because it has that glaive. So I was very torn. I thought it was a cool model, but I was pissed because it seems like now it's like, well, fuck the results. It's like we're just going to do what we want.
Yeah, and I know that I speak for you as well when I say that participation trophies are for pussies. So there are really three ways that I see this breaking down. The first is that all the guilds are going to see a Union model.
Well,
and
at least all the main ones that are in the competition.
The Union and Chain.
Yeah.
So the 8 that were there, obviously Minx and Hemlock have already been decided in that contest, but they could have all of those guilds receive a Union model. That's possible. The next option is they just decided to do that and throw a monkey wrench in that one matchup.
Yeah.
And the other ones are going to play out exactly as they're going. You're going to have to fight for the one you get. And
well, here's the problem with that, though, is you cut that competition off early, and this is a big fucking problem. Because now you have all these loose players that either were doing the Morticians or the Hunters, and now they're influencing the other competitions. So now you saw that they just posted the results that the Engineers now are ahead of the Alchemists. Like, they made this gigantic swing. And you have
that model is pretty dope.
It is. And you have all these salty Alchemist players like Matt Johnson, our boy, who is probably crying, himself to sleep now because the Engineers have come back, and it's probably due to the fact that all these, Hunter and all these Mortician players are hate voting on certain guilds or voting for models that they want. So now not only are they getting a model from their guild, but now they're also impacting the votes for another model. So who knows, maybe next week when this all gets wrapped up at, SteamCon, maybe the, Masons are going to come back. Like, we have like a 66-33 lead, whatever it is. And who knows, maybe people start hate voting the Brewers like you. And all of a sudden, I'm not getting my Decimate model. And who knows if I get anything. I don't know.
So that's one option that it can throw off, and just the remaining guilds in the Union Chains event are going to receive whichever model wins. The other is that everybody is going to get a model. And so I was looking at this, and with the introduction of the Sulpician models and the Sulpician religion into the game and that fluff coming into the game, I could foresee a very realistic change in Season 4 to create a Sulpician guild. So obviously some of those models would be spoken for, right? You've got Brisket, you've got Grace, Benediction, and Mist. Those ones would obviously stay. And there are some models here that you can't really do a vet version into a guild fluff-wise, right? Models like Snakeskin. Rage is obviously going to have some problems with that. Blackheart. There's some issues there. So I was looking at it, and looking at the remaining models that could be assigned. Very conveniently, there are 6. And those remaining models that have yet to be assigned are the Hat, which currently the Alchemists and the Engineers are fighting over. Gutter, who currently the Fish and the Butchers are fighting over. And Decimate, who currently the
Brewers and
Masons are fighting over. The remaining 6 that could easily get assignments are Fangtooth, and this is going to sound a little bit odd, but Avarice and Greed. I think very reasonably they could find an excuse in the fluff to split up Avarice and Greed and then assign each one to
a different guild.
It's a different guild.
Yeah.
And if this were to happen, there are some very convenient ways that it could play out. Fangtooth would be a really smooth fit onto the Fisherman because they have all of that light footage, so they can ignore that aura that he's putting out, that foul odor, and that would free up Gutter to go to the Butchers, which I think a lot of people think
a better fit.
That she's just a natural fit there.
Well, no, there's some people that argue that like she's like a pirate princess or whatever, but you know, I mean, I could see her going to either guild.
Yeah. Avarice could very easily fit in with the Brewers. He's already got that basher type mindset.
Yeah.
And in that case, you would see Decimate go over to the Masons. And then the Hat, because it won't be Harry anymore. Harry. The Hat would... There are so many people that want that model to go to the Engineers, which I think it really looks cool.
Yeah, I like it because of the mechanical arm on it. And you know that when they do this background on that model, if it goes to the Engineers, that it's going to have some kind of pin vice, twist to it. Because Pin Vice loves, taking human bits off and putting mechanical bits back on. So I think that would be a really cool story to read about and see how they get that into the Engineers.
And then Greed could easily fit onto the Alchemist because he's
small and mobile.
He's schemy too.
Yeah,
so
little turd.
There's those options, right? The last option, which is that this letter from Obulus is a one-off, is... And I've been thinking about this for a little while. It was kind of an abrupt addition. And they almost went out of their way to say, hey, we have these intentional plans of why we've done this. And I'm not really buying that. I almost think that there was somebody that was on that game design team. Or maybe it's somebody that's writing the fluff or something like that. Where they realize... No, we need this model to go, whether it's Minx or whether it's Hemlock, we need this model to go to this guild for some specific reason, and so it's a one-off. They just decided to change that one model.
Listen, I don't know where the smoking gun is, but all I know is that kind of bullshit pisses me off, because it's just like, and I didn't even play for that guild, but it still pisses me off, because you have all these people that put in these weeks to influence this count, and you're like, you're going to influence the fluff, you're going to influence, and then you just blow it up and say, fuck it,
But at the same time, the meta was also saying fuck it, because they weren't really influencing it much. It was 50-50.
I mean, that shows you a couple of things, just that either it was that closely contested, or, which I think it was. I think a lot of the Morticians and Hunters players really like those models, and I think it's just that it was just pretty much even because you had the same amount of games basically coming into it.
I think that the Hunters players got a gift. That Minx model is incredible.
Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like, if you're going to put out that kind of shit for the losing team, man, I'll start playing for the other side. I'll play for Masons, start dropping a bunch of games, and give me a super sweet, Avarice model or something.
Well, that's realistic that something like that can happen, because now we've seen multiple releases of these previews of models that have two different sculpts.
Yeah.
We've seen two different Decimate sculpts with both versions of both guilds. We've seen multiple Gutter models. If we go back to that release that happened a few months ago where they previewed that special design of Gutter compared to the Gutter models that we've been shown for Union and Chains thus far, we've seen some extra sculpts, and I kind of think they're doing.
Yeah, let's not talk about how shady they dropped those extra sculpts. It was like they didn't even release like a press release or anything of like, hey, we decided to resculpt these models. They snuck it into a discussion on Facebook basically and said, hey, here's some random pictures we're posting, and they didn't there was no reason to it, no explanation, just like, hey, here's your models now.
Yeah.
And trust me, I like the changes. I think they're cool. The originals I could have dealt with too, because I thought those were good models too. But man, it's like, I don't get how you're going to be like, these are the models that you're fighting for. Here's the progress. And then just, I'm gonna keep it clean. I had a couple thoughts in my head, but I'm gonna keep it clean. Keep it clean there.
Well, maybe this is also a balancing game to balance out those damn farmers.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about how those farmers are OP as all hell. So maybe
what does that have to do?
Maybe this is what it has to do with it. Maybe they're releasing extra models into all these guilds to bump up those guilds a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, because there's also these rumors of this power creep with the blacksmiths too, because they got some really cool stuff we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, they got somebody on a horse.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. It's cool. So, and just so you guys know, I talked about the poll that I put out, and we had about 18 people vote on it. It wasn't a ton, but good enough to get me kind of some feedback on just the question of, do you think that every guild's going to get it? We had about 40% that said, yes, they love it. They would love getting new models because, people love new models. And that's what conflicts me is I also like all these new models Steamforge is putting out are freaking amazing. And I would love to buy them all. But then, the competitive person in me hates that everybody would get a model. So there were other people, like 22% said, yes, I like the new models. Or yes, I think that they're going to keep coming out with these new models for every guild that participated. But then they're like, why did I play this? It's like, why did I put in, the games to put in
your blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, man. Why did I, maybe not mine. I made some other people cry, but.
Some salt. Salt ran free through the streets.
And then we had another like 40% that said, no, we're probably not going to see new models for every guild. That this is just Obulus wanting to get my fucking blood pressure up. And I'm the calm one out of the two of us. And I'm getting just thinking about this pisses me off. It's just ridiculous.
I guess you're going to have to rage quit the Union Chains event.
And I tell you what, you want to know what's funny that you say that? Is that I haven't posted, I've been posting about 3 or 4 things in the forum each week after this letter drop from Obulus. That fucking fairy. When I say fairy, I mean like the ferryman, not, being derogatory towards gay people. But
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that for you Seinfeld folks out there. He screwed up and I haven't posted anything in there since.
Well, way to take it out on
I'm a grudge guy. This is like TGI Fridays all over again. Just
wait, we're never going to play Guild Ball again?
No, it's not going to get that bad, but
You're never going to play the Morticians. Obulus is a server in TGI Fridays.
He's dead to me. The ferryman is dead to me. Okay.
So,
breathe.
That's enough for the Union in Chains. We don't want you to
the salt mine's
have
real.
An aneurysm.
The salt mine is real.
So what else do you want to talk about?
All right, so we got these cool models coming out. So obviously we got new models like in the Union and Chains event. We haven't talked about the Gutter model. We haven't talked about the Minx model, Harriet, and then we also got these really cool Dark Harvest models and the Oktoberfest models. And then we finally got this cool preview into this Millstone model that's coming out. So I think we should let's start off with those Union and Chain models and just what do you think about the Gutter model selection? Because you're a Butcher player, so what do you think about those two different sculpts?
I like them. I think I'd prefer the one that has those circular rings.
Yeah.
But that also looks a lot like that blacksmith model. I'm trying to remember which one. Is it Cast? Is it Cast that has those circular weapons?
No, the Cast is the one that has like that Captain America shield. You're thinking of what's her name? She is. I don't think it's Ferrite. It's Cinder, I think.
Cinder?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Cinder.
No, Cinder has a crossbow.
Oh, she does have the crossbow. Yeah, then it has to be Ferrite with the circular things.
Anyway, my point is, because they're releasing another model like that, I think I'd prefer that most recent Gutter model.
Okay.
We're going to give Gutter the owner. That's what this is going to come down to. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, looking at the two models, they look very similar to me.
Yeah, they do. They do, and more similar than the other models.
Yeah, I mean, because basically it's like, one has her hair braided back, and then the chain's slightly different, and you can see the different guild logos and stuff. And I'm just like, I mean, they're the same model to me. It's like they're cool models, but I mean, there's no huge difference between them.
Yeah.
What about the Harriet model? We kind of already talked about preferring the engineer one, but what did you?
The engineer one is so much better. That looks like something straight out of a Jules Verne novel. It looks so cool. It's definitely got that steampunk feel to it.
Yeah, I think it really fits into both of those guilds. Like, no matter which one gets it, even the Alchemist one has that cool vibe to it, where it's like, yeah, it's steampunk with like the goggles and stuff. And I really like those two models, and I can see why everybody's jumping on the engineer bandwagon, because that engineer one, especially with that mechanical arm, it looks really solid. And it's interesting that it's a woman though. It makes me wonder how the hat's going to transfer to that new character.
Yeah, I like that they put that in the fluff, that the hat's the player.
Yeah.
It's not so much about...
Well, apparently the way it worked out is like from like old, like a lot of seasons ago in the fluff, that they're on several different teams, that there was a player with that top hat, and they were like the best player in Guild Ball. And then when that player died, it just so happened that a new player showed up, and they started playing with a top hat in a different guild, and they were an amazing player. So the idea is that this top hat gives the players, these amazing skills on the pitch.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. We got Gutter, Harriet. What about that Minx model? We already kind of said how sweet that model was.
Yeah, that's the best one that I've seen.
Like, I'm not even a huge hunter player. Like, you and I kind of, I wouldn't say co-own hunters, but, I kind of carry them around, and we'll both play them once in a while. But I think the hunters could really benefit from a 2-inch reach model.
They could, especially because you don't see a lot of Hearn play in the hunters.
I think you do. I think you definitely do.
I haven't seen it a lot.
So
at least the metas around here don't.
I would say we don't, because I don't think we have a great hunter player yet. I think the more maybe some of our guys play him, they'll figure it out. But Hearn actually has a really good place with a Theron list, just because Theron can set up really unique situations like goal runs with him, because you can pop that forest right next to Hearn. He teleports to it basically, and then you can do all sorts of change.
I'm surprised they gave Hearn a original and vet version. I kind of wish they made something else of that version.
Yeah, I mean, and like we've talked before, that it's kind of a similar model. Like, they have similar abilities. Yeah. So it kind of feels like the same model. Yeah. And it kind of does the same thing. I mean, it's just different. I think it's a different way of going about it. Yeah. But that Minx model, I think, is going to be really cool, and I hope the rules kind of match it. Because, like I said, I think if you give that model 2-inch reach, if you still maybe keep that Furious, that'd be super nice. And yeah, putting out Snared for the hunters is never a bad thing. Yeah. But I don't know how they would make it different, though, besides a 2-inch reach. I don't know if maybe you put some bleed out there instead as well. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if there will be the traps element that we see with Chaska and Yekar, and I don't know. We'll have to see how they recreate it. I think the one that they'll see the greatest change with is that hat model, though. Yeah, I agree. That little girl is gonna have to play different than Harry.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the sculpt, I think she's got to focus more on the football game. I don't see how she would be a bruiser. Yeah. So I think it's going to be part of the hat that focuses on the scoring, maybe having that inspiring hat aura still.
Yeah. I'd love to see the hat be a captain. Not necessarily that girl model, but some way to make the hat more emphasized than make it a captain in some way. But we'll see. There are definitely models that are on deck, for example, Honor, that could become captains in other guilds.
Okay. So we also, and as a group in Charleston, we made an order for that Dark Harvest set of models. Myself and Josh, we picked up the Dark Harvest box. You and Jeremy and a couple other people picked up the Oktoberfest Brewers. I think you were actually the only one of the Oktoberfest Brewers, but then a couple of you picked up the Mortician sculpt, which I thought was really cool. So why don't you just kind of, the two that you got, the Oktoberfest and the Obulus. Why don't you kind of talk about what you thought when you actually got them out and looked at them?
So I got that Jack Skellington Obulus.
Yeah.
And
the Pumpkin King.
Really, you decided that I was getting that Obulus because I was on the fence, and you decided to put in the order. And the last thing I told you was, how much am I going to regret not getting this if I decide not to get it? And you were like, you're going to regret it. I'm ordering it for you.
You love your alternate sculpt models.
I do.
So, like, I knew that if sometime in the future you wanted to get into your Morticians a lot, I knew you would love having that model just because you love having those unique models.
Yeah, if anyone's listening to this and you have cool alternate sculpts, especially from early on,
the Kickstarter,
like the Kickstarter versions or
Season 1,
that Kraken that's a limited edition,
yeah,
I am looking for those. I want those.
Definitely.
So, if anyone's listening to me and they're looking to move some,
yeah. So
give me a holler.
What do you think about the models?
I really like them. I'm not as impressed with the trick-or-treating dirge.
Yeah, that was kind of different.
But I do like that pumpkin head on the Obelisk. As far as those Oktoberfest models for the brewers, I think those are great. I like the esters a lot more than the original sculpt. I think that it seems to fit with the theme.
See, and it's funny because I'm the brewer player, so you'd think that I would have gotten that model. I actually don't like that model.
Really? Also, Quaff is wearing a hat.
So I think first off, it's hard for me to buy another Quaff when I don't play him that much. I'm trying to make him work a little bit, but I don't need two of them because the only difference is that stupid hat. And then the Esther's model, I think she's like I kind of hate the pose. Like, I like the idea of what she's representing there, kind of like almost like a Polly's girl, but obese. But
I think if anything, they leaned her up over the other one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She's like standing up straight. She's got these huge tracts of land, and
she's carrying
she's got these steins, and it's just kind of like I feel like it looks weird. It just.
Okay, let me open this up and take a peek at it.
I
still haven't assembled this. I need to assemble it.
Yeah, like I said, I like the idea. I think that she's posed.
Yeah, I like her holding the steins more. I think that's way cooler. And it's not like they made the original one super dynamic anyway, as far as its pose.
And I think she's got a butterface.
I think she had a butterface in the original one. I will say this though. And in the last podcast, I made this comment about. I think we were talking about the brewers, and we were talking about like the big fatties that they've got. One thing that I do love about this game that I don't think they get enough credit for is having a ton of diversity in the models.
I agree with that.
I think that it's great that they do have models of varying body types. I like that they have models of varying ethnic backgrounds, and
like your Turkish butchers.
My butchers do look like they're Turks, but
they're from Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah,
by the way.
So I love that they have those elements. I like that some of the captains, like Hammer, are a black guy, or and so on and so forth. Because that's one thing in miniatures games that I think needs to change. Is it does feel like in a lot of these games it's like the Aryan nation.
Oh yeah, you look at 40K. I mean, every Space Marine and IG guy is pretty much white,
and War Machine as well,
except for the salamanders, but they're more like charcoal skin.
Yeah, so
I don't think you know anything about that, but I kind of got the 40K fluff where I think that just went over your head a little bit.
Well, I don't know 40K as well as you, but I definitely have noticed that, and I've noticed it with War Machine as well. So that's something that I think they deserve a lot of credit.
What are you talking about? Your grand nemesis there has that black. Oh man, what's his name? The Signar guy that he's kind of like is it Siege?
Siege?
I think it's Siege.
Yeah.
So
there's one.
There's one.
There's one.
We got one
in the entire game, but. This game has a lot of that variety, and I really think that's cool. I want to see more of that. I would love to see... I like that they have, little greeds and heavy set models.
Because I think the thing I didn't like about her specifically was actually like, it's almost like her legs are too small or something. Like, it's these very tiny legs, and then all of a sudden she has like this huge V out where she gets like robust. It's kind of weird. But that's just this guy's opinion.
This is a better sculpt than those other ones.
She's got that long, hand sewn dress, and she's singing like.
So she looks like a polygamist.
I guess I don't know.
No. I like this one because it does look more like someone serving beers instead of a random Viking in the middle of the.
She's singing till she's winning. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's my thoughts on those models. And I love that Thresher you got.
Can we just take a minute and applaud Thresher finally being released and available to play? Because if you play in a tournament that allows alternate sculpts, you can play Thresher.
That's true. That is true.
So we have a bunch of people that are now sad because they're going to have to see Thresher in some tournaments. Have fun with that.
Yep.
So, but yeah, the model itself is amazing.
It does make me wonder, though, why they didn't just put that box out sooner.
I don't know. Well, I mean...
That's kind of weird.
Which, that box looks really cool. We can get it. We'll get into that, I think, once it gets closer to being released. Especially when they come out with that last model and what our rules are going to be.
Well, and speaking about that box, since we're on the subject, what are your thoughts on the variant to Millstone that you can only get through local game shops?
I like it. I like it because it pushes orders to go through the game shops. That helps support the brick and mortar stores. And I think the alternate sculpt model is better looking than the plastic one that they have.
I agree with all of that. I want to see Steamforge and other games do more of that, where you're able to get something special if you order it through the game.
Because, I mean, traditionally you'd see that alt sculpt come out in like a con, or you'd see it, only in this, random event. And it's really awesome to see them support that local game store, because I think people need to have more incentive to purchase stuff like that through your game store, because I mean, if those things go out of business, you're just playing in somebody's garage.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think can be a little bit short-sighted is it is more important that gamers have good relationships with their local shops than that they visit your booth at a con.
Yeah, see, and I mean, another thing is, I tell people this all the time, it's really easy to say, hey man, let's just play at my house.
Yes.
Whereas what you need to do is you need to go out to your local game store, play there, even if it's just two people, because that gets exposure for the game. It gets the games, people see it, and it's an entertaining game to watch, even if you don't know what's going on, because the back and forth, the models, you can clearly see where the ball is. And it looks good for a store, and it gets your meta and gets people interested in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just play at home, okay, you and your buddy are having a game, that's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So the tombstones are also really cool. They're really sculpted nicely. I really like the detail on them. I ended up piecing out a couple of my models because I'm not using them for harvest markers, the tombstones. I'm going to use them for some of the models I have. Like, I'm going to use the grayscales one to represent grayscales. I'm going to use a couple of like snakeskin and coin. I'm actually going to use those in the union team. I'm going to play with. So I kept the ones that I liked, and the ones that I didn't need, I was like, here you go. I gave it to some people.
So the only one that you're talking about is like gas?
No, I got rid of. I already have Blackheart, and I want to get the Kickstarter one, where he's actually standing up.
Yeah, that one looks so much better.
Clay wanted the ghost one off me, so I sold it to him because I know he's really getting into his union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought for sure you'd take the ghost.
No, I mean, it was cool, but I think I would rather have that up posed with the sword in the ground. Blackheart.
That is the better one.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, that's the new models that came out. So we're gonna kind of look at what we're doing. Kind of looking ahead here. So we're going to go out Sunday. We're going to get some games in. And we're going up to Columbia.
We are.
So it's going to be really cool because we're actually going to do a quick...
I've never gamed up there, by the way.
Yeah, it's good. I like Firefly. It's a good store up in Columbia if you haven't been there before. Lots of room, friendly staff. And we're actually going to play the Greenville meta, and I think some people from Georgia, is that right? There are a couple of people from Georgia coming too?
Yeah, Augusta?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So we're going to get a bunch of games in. It's really to prep some of the Greenville guys for SteamCon. A couple people asked us, and I think Ben Rose actually asked us if we were going to SteamCon UK. And I was like, well, we're not even going to SteamCon US because, I'm a teacher. I got stuff I'm doing right now. And I think we got other financial obligations that we can't quite make it to SteamCon. But we're prepping our buddies up in Greenville to help them just get some quality games in.
We still want South Carolina to bring the heat.
Yeah, and we want to exchange some meta too, because if they're doing something cool, or if we're doing something cool, we want to share that with each other so we can make each other better. I think is kind of the goal there.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal.
Yep, so we're tuning up the Dojo Gang, getting them ready to go up to SteamCon. I think they're planning on running in a bunch of those events up there.
Yeah, that's what I understand. I think they have a pretty solid group that's flying up. So they're investing some time and some cash into...
Yeah, I think they at least got like 3 or 4 going.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. Another tournament I wish I was going to is there's a Veterans Day tournament tomorrow up in Virginia. That would have been fun to go to. It's just too far out, not enough time. I do a bunch of Veterans Day stuff because I'm a veteran. So, just timing didn't fit. So, looking at some of these questions, Chris, what are some of the questions that people had that kind of stick out to you?
Some of the questions...
So the first thing that I want to ask you is, and this is Ben Rose again, he asked, so how did that match up with Farmers into Corsair go? So we literally...
As to be expected.
We literally just played this, and we have 2 different opinions on this, by the way.
So I will admit that I'm having these frustrations with Farmers, and there's part of it that...
I think it's throwing your game off.
That's definitely part of it, but I also, it just hasn't been fun for me, so there's a point where it's just like, I just push all the chips to the center at some point and just say, alright, like, throw down your hand and let's just be done with this. So, I mean, I probably could exercise a little bit more control and long game, but in the end, I still feel like the outcome is the same. You're telling me as we played that if I would have tried to score with grayscales earlier or take a model into tap-in range that I would have had a closer game. And I agree with you. I probably would have had a closer game. But to me, the end of the game is the same, which is win for the Farmers, loss for whoever they're playing.
Well, see, because I think if you scored with grayscales early, that gives you 4. If you killed Jack Straw like you should have because you missed that roll, that would have given you 6. And that was just unfortunate. I mean, average roll, you should have killed him. So that's just kind of bad luck with the dice. And then I don't think it's...
But you can't afford to have bad luck with the dice
when that's not here or there.
When you're playing the Farmers.
Okay, but I think it's very feasible that you would have kicked another goal in. So that would have got you to 10. And then you killed Tater, so there's 12 points that potentially you had. It just, the dice didn't go that way.
So Pete picked my lineup with this team.
Yeah, you want to kind of
And
share.
he gave me Corsair, Tentacles, he gave me Avarice and Greed, and then Grayscales, Hag, and Siren.
Siren 1.
Siren 1, yes.
And looking back, I think we both agree that maybe Siren 2 gives you a little bit more.
I would rather take Angel. First of all, I think that you did this to me on purpose just to, like, fuck me up. But
so just so you know, that's a pretty traditional Corsair list.
So here's the issue with Siren 1 into that list, and I thought it would be great because you've got lure and it's easy to lure models that have low defense and all that. But that
not so fast, my friend, as they say.
I know. What happens is that model that's advancing towards Siren becomes a friendly model for that advance. So this dickhead over here...
It's a tactic used to counter lure that most people are aware of.
No, the difference is you have all the 2-inch reach in the world, so you're able to just knock those models down as they're coming out. And the beautiful thing about Farmers is they don't care if they have all sorts of bullshit conditions on them because
cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
Yeah, they just stand them up with that damn chicken. So yeah, I would not recommend taking Siren into that. Although I do like the idea of a lure with low defense models, not against models that have early, easy knockdowns.
Yeah, and one thing that I did learn, though, playing farmers against Chris is the fisherman, despite what Chris says, is a tough matchup for the farmers.
It's definitely tough for Wendell.
Wendell I would say Wendell, because I was like, I'm just going to bring my traditional lineup. And Wendell really, I was lucky enough to get Avarice into kind of where I wanted him, and I ended up getting a snack break on him. But besides that, Wendell was getting blinded by the octopus.
If you are going against farmers and they're taking Wendell, or you know that it's likely that they take Wendell, that octopus is a must.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing fisherman. Hemlock's really good against a lot of the farmers' lineups. Even if and that was another thing I was telling Chris, is that I was playing Grange, and Grange, I mean, he did a lot better than I thought he would, just because of how versatile and how flexible he is. But man, I mean, Thresher going into fish, I think, is going to be really strong. But if you have the octopus, it helps blinding Thresher, obviously. Corsair is really good and I think you even said that you would have liked to have Kraken on there to get another pull.
Just because they're these drags instead of a regular advance.
Well, because then you could really take hey, I'm going to take Grange in this case when we were playing. I'm going to take Grange and pull him this way, and then I'm going to take Thresher or take Tater and pull him that way.
But I do like the idea of lining up Grayscales and Angel on either side, because I think both of them offer good scoring threats. You're going to have to score probably 3 goals.
Does it surprise you that a lot of people don't like bringing Angel?
Yeah, she's not.
A lot of people hate that 1-inch reach that she has.
Yeah, she's not incredible in that way, but she's got a lot that she can do, and you have to take the models that are going to score best against those farmers. You're not going to win a melee.
Yeah, I mean, but see, that's the thing though. I think Sakana gives you more as a scorer just because of that 2-inch reach, and you don't need the armor piercing against the farmers.
And that's why I don't like it. I feel like, especially, and this sounds like a broken record at this point, and I'm sorry to do this to you, but because I feel like those farmers are so damn strong, you need to have every ability that your models can take need to be productive.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take any models that are doing things that don't specifically help against those farmers. And so I can see uses for Angel because she can get all over the place and she's light-footed. And thank goodness those farmers don't have that light-footedness, although Jack Straw still jumps all over the damn place.
So I think, and I tell you, as soon as I felt bad for Chris because he should have killed Jack Straw with Avarice because Greed was out. Avarice had plus 3 because of the gang ups. And you literally needed 3 hits on probably 8-9 dice.
Well, no, I needed to trigger the reanimate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so Jack Straw was knocked down. So he was a 4. I only had to hit on 4s, not the normal 5s.
That's what I'm saying. You just needed 3 hits. And I felt bad because as soon as he couldn't kill him, I'm like, well, Jack Straw is going to not be there anymore and heal up. And that's what it did.
Yep, and he never died. And so
it's true.
You have to be perfect to beat him.
So obviously you and a couple other people, because there's some people that are having the same feeling with Thresher, and I'm not even just talking about me playing him. I'm talking about people around the world playing against Thresher are like, man, this guy's good, almost to the point where he's too good. And some people asked, and I think once again,
well, he's the better matchup against Fish. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And then we had another question, and Ben had a bunch of them, but he asked, do you think that the blacksmiths are going to also cause this negative play experience? Because looking at that new model that came out cast, there's so many debuffs that the blacksmiths can put out that do you think that's going to put out this negative play experience for certain people?
It's one of those things where, and people have been giving me a lot of pushback ever since that 3rd episode that we did when we talked about the farmers.
And by the way, we're trying to push that envelope a little bit. That's kind of what we're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, To be honest, I would rather have strong opinions and have people disagree with me than be vanilla, because that's boring. So it is naive of people to believe that these guilds aren't designed to be somewhat OP. Right?
It's that power creep.
Yeah, there's some power creep to encourage people to buy these new models, and what I hope is that the power creep is slight so that it doesn't drastically swing a meta, right? I feel like and this is just me personally, I feel like the farmers are way more powerful than they should be. But the blacksmiths, I think, are stronger. The blacksmiths, to me, are a lot like the masons, except more. I don't know why I'd want to play the masons over these blacksmiths. Especially when they add the second box.
I actually think that they're like the masons, but they're more focused on the football game. Like, the masons can do that, but masons can also, get in with it and swing and kill stuff. Whereas the blacksmiths, like, I know those end of the playbook results are scary, like those 6s and 7s. And
momentous nonetheless.
Yeah, but I feel like that they can be a guild that could get like 3 scores on you actually pretty quick.
Yeah, I think that too. So basically what I see as the blacksmiths is that they have a variety of options like the masons do.
Yeah.
But they do it better than the masons. And so just like I see the farmers as having a lot of melee options, sort of like the brewers, but they do it better than the brewers.
Yeah, so I think the blacksmiths are going to be a little frustrating, especially in the football game. Like, if you're a scoring guild, I'd be worried about this guild because they're going to tar pitch you down, and with all these debuffs, it's going to be hard for you to take out any model because they're low defense, but they have a decent amount of boxes besides the apprentices, but there's so many debuffs they can put out that it makes it difficult for you to kill anybody. And then, hey, we're going to take this ball from you real quick and then go score. Or I'm going to do, a goal kick. Or I'm going to throw my shield at you and now the ball's scattering. And it doesn't matter that you have close control because it's, you're dropping the ball because I hit you with my shield.
Yeah. The other aspect here, and this might be part of what my frustration is when those farmers came out, you wanted to get the farmers, I wanted to get the blacksmiths, and we thought, great. Now, I ordered those blacksmiths on the pundit store back in the day,
yikes.
Months ago.
Shots fired.
And I still don't have them. So if anyone listening to this has some connection to Steamforge and how they fill their orders, hook a brother up and get me some models.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to talk about that too much because I don't know if it's going to do us any good with that. So,
but that may be the answer to my experience with the farmers, is my point, right? Maybe once I have this blacksmith's box, I'm able to dig into them a little bit more, play more often. I'm not one to really proxy models. I want the experience of playing the game with the actual models. And so maybe I'll find that once those come out. I'm excited for the second box. I think the second box is actually going to make those blacksmiths are really good.
I agree with that. What do you think about that new horse, knight, whatever you want to call it, blacksmith model coming out?
Yeah, that's awesome. I hope I can kick you in the face with it.
So, looking at how imposing the artwork looks I think it's going to be on probably a 50 millimeter base, almost like a Colossus size model.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have some kind of new mechanic, I think, that maybe we haven't seen yet, and I don't know what that's going to look like.
Maybe like a horse kick to the face and then it can run.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like something like maybe it can run through models, like,
Oh, like you can trample them.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like a War Machine thing where it's like, hey, you can, even if you're engaged, you can still charge.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because like the idea is maybe like it gives you some kind of ramming speed where you would touch them, they push 2 inches away, and then you could charge into a model.
Yeah, I would love to be able to just like keep pushing them, plow through, and really knock a model out of position. That would be really cool. Yeah,
and I'm very, and I think most people are very anxious to see what this model looks like and what the card would look like, because I think it's exciting because it's something we haven't seen before. Like somebody riding, a beast into Guild Ball has not been done yet.
Yeah. I think that those blacksmiths models, more than any other, they've just had some real unique concepts. Like when I look at Burnish and that
The
crazy flamethrower and things, like that's really cool. One thing I didn't realize, and we talked about it and figured it out, was that I always thought you had to take the master with its specific apprentice.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can mix and match the apprentices and masters, and obviously some have synergies that you want to take advantage of, but the fact that you can blend those the way that they are is a huge advantage. And I love the fact that you don't have to take a mascot, because mascots suck.
I mean, and some people have different feelings.
Well,
about
unless you're
those.
able to blind Wendell with an octopus, that is awesome. That is my one element of satisfaction that I got out of that.
Because it slows them down even more.
Yep. Suck it, you deserve it.
Yeah, about that.
So, yeah, I love the fact that those models are coming out. I'm excited for the new box. I'm excited for all of the preview stuff that I've seen thus far. I think that they're going to be fantastic. And hopefully, I'm not somebody that is about seeing something that's broken or OP and me wanting to jump on it. That's not what makes it fun for me. I want it to be balanced. I want every guild to be able to beat every other guild, and obviously there are some matchups that are going to require greater skill in order to achieve that, but that's what I want to see possible.
Yeah, and I think that looking at it, I almost think that the blacksmiths with all the tools, so this is talking about the second box being included, I think will actually be a pretty good counter, I think, for the farmers, just because of the debuffs they can put out and the one at a time, and they actually have armor. I think that's one thing the farmers can struggle at, is if there's something heavily armored, it's tough for them to get the damage going, not necessarily the knockdowns, but definitely to get that damage rolling like they want to. So, I mean, looking at it, I think that's kind of the last question I saw, unless you can think of another one you were reading there, Chris.
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay. So, anything coming up that you want to share? Any events, anything Guild Ball related, pundit related?
No, is there anything you're thinking of?
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to just drop is that we are doing our end of our Escalation League.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, we're going to do, basically, the Escalation League's going pretty well. People are trying to get their last bit of games made up. But on November 19th, we're actually going to do the end of Escalation League event, which we're running as a tournament. And we actually opened it up to other people. You won't be, the prizes for the certificates for the league will not be available for those people to win. But if you're looking for a lucky model, or if you're looking to win the certificate for the event, for the actual tournament, that will definitely be available. We'll have some prize support there as well. So we're running that at the final round bright and early. We're going to start registering people at 11 a.m. and hopefully get dice rolling by noon on the 19th of November.
And I think I haven't talked with Pete about this yet, so it's going to be a surprise announcement. But there's a little twist that I want to put on this event that I think would be productive for everyone. And so I'll talk with Pete about this, and stay tuned. We might be giving you a nice little addition to it.
All right, and as far as that goes, that's it, man. We're done with the episode.
That's it?
That's it. I have nothing more for you.
Oh, man, I thought there would be more stuff.
Well, we got a little more rage from both of us. I think people saw that I also get pissed off when Obulus wants to screw me over. Didn't even put lipstick on. Didn't even put lipstick on.
Mortician should know. You have to do the makeup. You have to make it look natural. Oh, by the way, one last thing is I finally got my Kingdom Death box.
Yep, so we're actually going to start playing that, and we're going to die probably a lot.
Yeah, that's
from what you tell me.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that, because we're actually going to do an episode dedicated to the Kingdom of Death of the monsters.
Yeah, so for those, we promised you this when we first started this podcast. We wanted to be able to give you exposure to other games and things periodically, and so we're going to do a Kingdom Death podcast and let you know how it went and what our experiences were and what we liked about it and where you might find some interest in this new game. It's huge. The box is massive. It's heavy.
Chris is compensating for something with this box. It's,
Yeah, am
it's
I?
staring at me right now.
Okay.
Imposing. Alright, that's it. We're done with this episode.
Okay, we're out.
I would tell you to go get games in, folks, but you want to know what Obulus said? He doesn't care. So,
If you do get games in, put them in for the butchers, please. There are some fucking fish people out there that are putting in like 4 games a day.
and listen, we all know that fish don't need any help.
Yeah, exactly.
So, get games in for the butchers. Hopefully Obulus won't screw us over again. And we'll talk to y'all later. We're out.
Peace.